Imagine living a healthier life by cutting one product out of your diet. Today I'm here to persuade you all to stop consuming dairy products such as milk, cheese, yogurt, and other products. By cutting dairy out of your diet, you all will improve your overall health and reduce the number of animals disposed in the dairy industry. I personally do not consume any dairy products, and I've done a lot of research on this topic, so I have a good idea about the negative effects that consuming dairy has on your health. Throughout this presentation, I will discuss the main issue, which is the overconsumption of dairy. I will offer a solution and alternatives for this issue, and I will also have you all visualize your life in 20 years with and without the consumption of dairy. To begin, the main issue that we have is the overconsumption of dairy and the negative impacts it has on our health. Dairy is unnatural for human adults to consume. We are the only species that still consume milk into adulthood and the only species that drink milk from another species. According to Healthline.com, people's genes have actually been mutated for the consumption of dairy. 75% of the world population is lactose intolerant, which further proves the point that it's unnatural for people to consume dairy past infancy and early childhood. Healthline.com also states that consuming dairy increases your risk of heart disease, it's very bad for your skin, and is the lead cause of acne, and it increases your chances of getting certain types of cancers. Oxford Academics states that there's a direct correlation between the consumption of dairy and breast and prostate cancers. Dr. Mark Hyman states that people should avoid dairy at all costs. Through his research, he has found that the people who created the USDA's food pyramid also work in the dairy industry. So the suggestions on the food pyramid and the promotion of adequate milk consumption is not to benefit your health, but to benefit their business. Dr. Wilton, MD, PhD, also states that the food pyramid is utterly ridiculous. If this issue is continually ignored, society will see an increase in certain cancers, skin diseases, and genetic mutations in society as a whole. To solve this problem, I recommend to completely stop drinking and eating dairy products and switch to a milk or nut-based alternative. Dr. Mark Hyman states that milk does not help to prevent bone fractures and actually increases the risk by 50%. Countries who have the least consumption of dairy actually has the lowest rates of bone loss and osteoporosis. Vitamin D has been shown to support bone health way more than calcium. Calcium and dairy are two different things. People can get sufficient calcium without using dairy as the source. The Federal Trade Commission asked the USDA to provide scientific basis for the claim that people should be consuming dairy. The USDA came back and actually stated that dairy consumption increases the risk of prostate cancer, increases your risk of heart disease, and it causes digestive issues in 75% of the population. This statement proves that the same people who are promoting the consumption of dairy also know that dairy has detrimental health risks to humans. Now you all might wonder what the alternatives to dairy are and how they might be hard to find. Cutting dairy from your diet has become a societal trend, and therefore many alternatives are now offered, such as plant and nut-based products. There are also many vegan alternatives to dairy products, such as butter and yogurt. Now let's imagine you guys' life in 20 years with and without consuming dairy. Imagine your life 20 years from now with daily consumption of dairy. Picture yourself with an acne-riddled face, even though you are way past the teenage hormonal stage. You are on your way to the hospital for your first round of chemotherapy because of the breast or prostate cancer you developed because of dairy consumption. You now wish that you stopped consuming dairy years ago. Now picture your life 20 years from now after converting to a dairy-free lifestyle. Your skin is beautiful. Any skin issues you had before have now cleared up. You are able to play with your children and your grandchildren because you don't have to worry about doctor's visits for an unhealthy heart or for cancer. You are able to travel and live an active and healthy lifestyle. According to Timeline News, Jane Plant, a 6-time cancer survivor, attributes a dairy-free diet to saving her life. Professor Plant found a tumor on the side of her neck in 1993 for the 5th time since 1987. When she researched ways to get rid of her cancer, she came across studies about the Chinese and their incredibly low cancer rates. These low rates are attributed to their dairy-free diets. Professor Plant decided she would try out a dairy-free diet, and in turn her tumor went away in just 6 weeks, and she was cancer-free for 18 years. After falling back into a lifestyle of consuming dairy, she again had another tumor in 2011, her 6th tumor. She again tried a dairy-free diet, and within months, this tumor had also cleared up. Plant states that typical cancer treatments are vital, but cutting dairy from your diet definitely has an impact on the development of cancer. Through this presentation, I hope you all can see that we must stop consuming dairy products. One thing that you can all do today is switch the type of milk that you are using. You can switch from regular cow milk to a plant or nut-based milk. I know cutting cheese or butter from your diet can be pretty difficult, but switching your milks is a simple change and the taste is pretty much the same. Consuming dairy is not natural for humans and it has many negative health impacts, including the increased risk of cancer. Many medical professionals advise staying away from dairy because the little benefits that it has does not outweigh the life-threatening issues that can arise in the future. I personally have taken steps to rid dairy completely of my life, and I have advocated for friends and family to do the same. I want you all to look at the way you envision your life in 20 years and take active steps to living a healthier and more positive lifestyle. Is there any questions? Yes.
What is your favorite non-dairy milk alternative?
I personally drink almond milk, and I opt for the vanilla almond milk. Any other questions?